This is known as an engineer's scale, and you'll see that it has 30 over on that side. On this side, it says 50. This side it says 10, and this is per the inch. There are 10 feet, 50 feet, 30 feet. In this case, 30 an inch is from here to there. We wanted to find 50 feet, and we're really close to it. This is a really simple technique. It's not perfect. It's better to get a real survey, but if you're doing things at home, it's okay. So from here to here, at 30 scale, you're close to being 50. So you could, 50 is actually right here, so you could actually blow it up slightly on a Xerox machine, or you could just use this measurement. So right now we're going to say we're doing things at 30 scale. We're going to show you how to enlarge it so you get it to scale on your drawing. If I measure directly off the Xerox copy, it's really not perfect, but it's kind of good enough for what we're doing. By the way, I drew in a little north arrow. You need to put north on all your drawings. And then you'll see that this measures, remember it was 115 feet, this actually goes to 110. We're about 5 feet off, and that does make a difference. But for right now, it's okay. And if I wanted to measure this size, remember it was going to be, I think it was about 50 something. You can see how you just read it straight off the scale. This is 60, 0, 30, 60. And then this side would be the 90 side, and see there's the 0. You always line it up with a little crosshair. And then you come down here, that's like 90 something. We're really about 5 feet off on this drawing. Now we're going to show you how to transfer this to a piece of paper so that you'll have a clean base sheet. So whenever I'm starting with a blank piece of paper, I'll go ahead and just draw a line, or if I'm in the field, I'll just draw a line. It doesn't have to be perfect. But if you remember from my little field notes, I had all kinds of strange sketches, but what I'm going to show you right now is how to basically get yours drawn in. So consider that this was the little drive that's a gravel drive in front of me, and then it was 115 feet-ish. So if I go down here to 100 and so that's about, is that about 110? And I'm just going to fudge it a bit and give it a little bit longer. So that would be like 115 feet. Put that little north arrow up here because it's always pointing that way. Now we do have an angle, so instead of doing the angle first, I'm going to remember those dimensions that we got from the county tax maps, and that was 50, let's say it was about 60 feet, because I didn't write it down. Don't do what I do. But let's say it's approximately 60 feet. So you just measure it right off that line using your scale. And we're going to show this side of the scale so you can read what I just did. And 60 went to right here. And now we're going to turn and do a parallel. This is if you don't have a big drafting table set up. And this end was about 96 feet. So I found the hundreds here. There's the 96. And so that gave me my angle. Isn't that cool? So now you've got a blank piece of paper with this information on it. And I always write down 1 inch equals 30 feet minus 0 inches. And that reminds me of what scale this is. And I put the address, 35 Flash Point. We also call it Dovecot. And then today's date is, I think, 5/13/13. Now what I'm going to do next is show you how to enlarge this, because at this scale it would be very hard to show a perennial border. Now for illustration purposes, we're going to be changing scales. We're going to go from engineering scale, which is the one on the left, that we were using 30 feet, went down here to a little over 115. And we're going to change the scale to an 1/8 inch. This is called architect's scale. It's written 1/8 inch equals 1 foot minus 0 inches. That is a very, very useful scale for homeowners. Now you can see if this is 115 feet on engineers, you start at the 0 on architects, and look, it goes out. Don't make a mistake and read that size. You want to go all the way down to here, and that's 92 feet. So see, this is going to really greatly enlarge this property. See, right now it's really tiny up in that upper corner, and now it's going to be pretty big because we got a bigger piece of paper. It's going to fit all the way down. I'm going to draw that line next. Now I'm drawing the line, and I'm going to take it down to 92, and then I'm going to hold my pencil there, bring the 0 back to it, so 92 plus 10 would be 102, plus 10 means 102. It's always hard to add. You want to go up to 115. So because they're only 92 feet at 1/8 inch scale, and I wanted 115, I subtract, and this is much more accurate than doing it while you're drawing it, and I got 23 feet. So I'm going to come back over to my little tick mark, which I put right here, and I'm going to go from this 0 straight down to 23 feet. That's 20, 21, 22, 23. Isn't that cool? So now I've got that side of the property line looking pretty good. And because we have a parallel road at the top, remember we wanted to go to about 60 feet across it. So I'm going to hold this, and the 0 is right here. I'm going to follow this on across. There's the 60. So you have to have a bigger piece of paper to do this. That's 60 at 1/8 inch. And then we can turn the corner, and we're going to do a parallel line. You can use a professional setup and actually get a drafting table, or do this on a computer, and there are any number of programs that will show this. So now we're going to go down, I believe it was 96 feet 6 inches. We've come down to that pesky number 92, but we happen to know that it's 4 feet 6 inches past that. So there's 4 feet, see that? And if you want to know 6 inches, this is subdivided into sixes, and it's by the inch, and so there is 6 inches right there. That's 96 feet 6 inches. Then, if we're really, really clever, and if we've done straight lines, we've got everything quite right, we're going to cross the junction, and that was about 62 feet at this scale. See, there's 60 and 62, and we remember it was like 59, I think, when we were taking them off the computer. So now look at this beautiful big piece of paper you have to work on. You've got a north arrow up here telling you where things are. This is what it was at 30 scale. Now you've got it at 1/8 inch scale, and you can actually draw things like cars. I'm going to show you how different cars look and houses look at 30 compared to 1/8 at this point. On the 30 scale plan, I just wanted to show you how little things are. This is, we measured it, the field drawings, which were kind of messy. You just do them. You just do them in the field so that you get an idea that's an 8-foot front porch, etc. Well, this is pretty cool because now you're seeing the hand-drawn one at the top and the one that we got off the computer on the bottom. And what I did is I took my field notes, just rough measurements. You can do it by pacing or stepping it off. I've got instructions for that on our website. Or you can pull a tape measure from some straight corner to a known property boundary. And you'll notice that I put that it was like I've got about 17 feet to the drive. I've got a little maple there in the way. I've got an 8-foot porch, got a 25-foot length of building that goes back to here. Then I had a 17-foot deck, but we've cut off half of it, so now we just have 9 feet back there. We have a small building that we're moving from here to here. I'll show you a video of that later, so that it would not take up so much of the backyard. We want space. And then, so here we have our new 9-foot. It's 8 feet off of this window. The building's 28 feet wide. The drop parking court is about 20 feet wide, and it's about 5 feet over to the edge of the actual property line. So I'm basically filling in the dots. I transfer those to scale, using those numbers. You don't have to do it in the field, but I went ahead and moved them, into my little 30-foot scale thing, just so that you'd see how easy this was. And there's the 5-foot offset right here at the corner for the buffer zone. This is, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble. There we go. Focusing. There's the 20-foot width of the parking. Here is the width of the actual building, which was 28 feet. and then there was the little outbuilding, which is 9 by 12. It's probably a little bit easier to see. You can see how we measured everything off the 30-foot scale. We showed the width of the parking lot is clearly 20 feet. The house is 28 feet. It's 19 feet from the road. There's a 3-foot offset right here at the side of the house to the property line. And then we have a 9 by 12 foot small outbuilding. All of that was just simply sketched in taking the measurements that we did in the field and transferring them directly to the drawing so that it looks like this, but it has a whole lot more detail. Now it's time to put in the salient details like those big arborvitaes which are in the property corner. Here, 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 and there's a 4th and a 5th one. And they really fill up the space. This is where when you start drawing plant materials you really need to have a scale drawing that is more like an 1/8 inch instead of at 30th. So let's go back to our enlargement drawing. This is an example of showing you how different the size is between using a 30 scale, which is engineering, which you get off the internet, and what is useful for you as a homeowner or someone working with clients, because 1/8 inch scale is vastly different. I'm going to zoom in on what is a 3-foot walk at 30th scale is right here. This little bitty thing is just not even barely 3 feet wide. That's 5 feet. A car is 8 by 20. And then when you come up to a house corner, in this example, the 3-foot walk is right up here. Here are 2 cars in a 20-foot by 40-foot space. Car's about 8 by 12, 8 by 18. And then you give them a little extra room. And then this is it blown up to 1/8 inch scale. Notice how much larger everything is. I'm going to zoom back in on. This is a 3-foot walk going to the front porch. This is a human being who is between 1.5 feet wide and 2 feet wide. You can really see him. You could actually draw the stepping stones for him. He's crossing a 5-foot walk, and here's his car that's about 8 feet in its parking place by 18. And cars are a little smaller than that. But down here you see how tiny he would be. It's like the size of the tip of my pencil. You see how different that is. And then these arborvitaes, which are easily 5 feet at that scale, at this scale, they're much more like this. They feel like the real thing. So that man is walking, he could be walking between 2 huge shrubs. So that's why we blow things up to these different scales. Now, we've got this plan drawn on an 11 by 17 piece of paper, and I'm going to Xerox it, and then I'm going to erase the one that we drew up at the corner, so we'll always have it as reference.